Hello everyone, great to see you again. I'm really excited to welcome a very special guest here today, the CEO of the Swiss Biotech Association, Dr. Michael Altdorfer. Dr. Altdorfer, welcome. I'm going to call you Michael or Michael if that's okay?
Absolutely.
Very good. Now, I had a look at your bio and I've known obviously about you as a profile for a little while now, but I was really interested in talking a little bit first about how is it that you came to be the CEO of the Swiss Biotech Association after quite a journey?
Well, you can look at it both ways. If you look back, it looks like a very structured process, yeah, with turns and twists. But it certainly allowed me to acquire all the skills that are now required for my role. Mm-hmm. But I started out without such a plan.
I don't think any of us have a plan.
You will find that I belong to those people that had, at the early stage of the career, had no fixed idea. I didn't want to become a pilot or run a hotel or have any other, become a counselor. I was rather one of those people that had the idea to learn on an ongoing basis, to be curious, and to work towards a situation where I could influence through projects, influence through working with people, influence in a certain direction. That was all that I was curious and interested in. It started out with an interest in natural science, trying to understand more about who we are, how we are embedded into nature, how our metabolism works, and how potentially we can address diseases. That was something that was from the outset something I was intrigued by. So I wasn't so attracted by basic research, fundamental research. I was really trying to get into an area where there was an application. There was potentially also the chance already to be part of a drug development team.
Okay.
So Roche offered me the opportunity to do the PhD in the industry. And that was a fabulous time, 4 years, working hard to develop something completely new, highly specialized. I ended up being in a field where maybe there was, I don't know, a handful, maybe a dozen people worldwide that would understand what I was doing. So specialized that, frankly, I also felt a bit isolated. And in my mind, that triggered the change. I wanted to work more cross-functionally. I wanted to get engaged in long-term projects that required all lines of work to work together to develop something in the long term. And pure coincidence, I ended up in investment banking.
Of course, yeah, after PhD in natural sciences, but it's not an uncommon route. We see a lot of people with PhDs in natural science enter the banking industry, but what exactly was your first role there?
So my first roles were on the operational side, international operations in the investment banking area, allowing me to learn about all the products, all the different affiliations of SPC Warburg or UBS worldwide, and soon turned also into big management role in the sense that I became responsible for merging the two big banks on the operational side of the banking platforms. And then there was another switch.
Okay.
I got a call from the two founders of Polyfor, a biotech company, whom I knew from previous work, and actually one of the founders was my supervisor at the PhD in Roche. And they informed me that they were at the brink of changing a CRO business model to a early stage research and development company. And that intrigued me. Again, like before at Roche, nobody understood why I would go to investment banking. Now it was different. Nobody understood why I would go back to a small company. Obviously, probably cutting my salary by 4, and at the same time investing money to fund my salary. So that was an interesting news.
Let me ask a question about that, because we get this a lot. People are very, very focused on their levels and how much money they're getting paid at the end of every month and at the end of every year for the bonus. We have, in many cases, offered people opportunities where they will earn less, but they will actually do more or invest more in their career. I mean, from your journey, how important would you say it is to look more carefully at the opportunity versus the bank account?
I personally think it's a question of personality and mindset. And if you are a person that is intrigued by making money, if you're driven by the money, maybe that is a factor that is essential for you. And it's probably going to be difficult to change that. If you're money driven, then that's something that you indeed may want to rank highly when you take such a decision. On the other hand, when you think about midterm and long-term career development, my experience at least is that if you focus on areas where you can learn, where you can find out where your strengths can be applied and what you learn and your strengths can be combined, you will get more influential no matter which line of works you're following in. You will also be more happy, I believe, because you will be in an area where you're happy to work, you're intrigued by the work. As I said in the beginning, I was always intrigued by the opportunity to be engaged in developing new drugs. Right. That has been a factor that influenced all these elements. Even when I was in investment banking, that did not go away. But I was in a process of learning. I was in the process of building larger teams, of getting the skills to advance large projects, hoping that at some later stage that would be useful in a combination with natural science. And it turned out to be right.
We say that a lot about Switzerland as a market for talent, is that we get a lot of people nervous about relocating here. What's it going to be like? What about the language? What about if the job doesn't work out here? And one of the things that we can usually say with a very high level of confidence is that, well, if you do decide to change and you don't want to move away from Switzerland, there will most likely be another opportunity in biotech for you here.
I mean, we can state that. I'm definitely convinced it's true, but I think it's even more clear when you look at the numbers. I know so many people that have come to Switzerland with plans to leave, and they never left. They never left. If we look at our industry in particular, and then I know it's true for many industries in Switzerland, but I think it's very much pronounced in our industry, in particular in the biotech companies, you find dozens of nationalities. The teams typically talk English. They typically comprise literally dozens of nationalities. Naturally, if you're only 10 people, you cannot be more than 10 nationalities, but often that's actually quite a diverse set. And that makes it very easy for people to integrate. Certainly in the biotech world. What sometimes is more challenging is the integration on the personal side. But again, in particular if you have children coming with you, if your spouse is relocating as well, we find that this is very quickly helping to integrate into the society, be it in Basel, be it in Lausanne, Geneva, Zurich, typically quite open-minded areas to welcome foreigners. And in that sense, it's not surprising that people tend to stick around for much longer than they initially thought they would be here.
I can say that's true. One of the things that you mentioned was talent. And obviously, I've got a vested interest in talking a little bit about talent. What would you say to, I think there's a couple of different categories here, but it really all falls down to the same question. I mean, we've got homegrown, Swiss educated talent coming out of universities. We've got foreign students who are graduating from here, perhaps looking to stay. We've got students from abroad, and then we've got experienced talent from abroad as well. And it's all the question for those four categories is all about, well, why should I, start my career in Switzerland? What would you say that Switzerland as a country and Swiss biotech or pharma can offer to candidates that they may not get somewhere else?
I mean, the first thing is, as you just alluded to, there's various ways how you can enter the biotech community. And also the biotech community offers a tremendous variety of business models, of different types of companies. You can engage yourself through an investor side, you can engage yourself on the CRO side, on the service side, you can engage yourself in a biotech startup. There is myriads of different players, and therefore it also caters for the different needs and interests of the different people. But what it all combines is the fact that you work in a thriving industry, in an industry that is growing tremendously quickly. It's growing at all fronts in terms of the different indications, different type of diseases we're following up. It grows in terms of research, it grows in terms of development, it grows in terms of manufacturing, and even the commercial side, which often is a balanced and a combined effort between biotech and the larger pharma companies, is also, as part of this growth, stimulated. So there is huge opportunities in terms of numbers of openings, in terms of different type of roles that we're looking for. When we talk about talents and the Swiss talent, biotech talent pool, I emphasize it is not just about the specialists, the scientists that we look for. That's important, of course. But we need to grow all elements. We need to grow the investor base. We need to grow the management team experience. We, as a part of the growth, see an increasing number of biotech companies that stay independent. They don't just develop to a certain stage and then sell themselves, but really grow. If you look at Idorsia, if you look at Debiopharm, if you look at ADC Therapeutics and others, they are on a long journey. They are building, they're creating value, and naturally over time they're also expanding their pipeline. That may entail that all of a sudden they also engage in manufacturing themselves, or they engage in new roles and activities. They may establish joint ventures, and that is just the beauty of this industry. That I often say, when you are in a company in a typical line of work, after a certain number of years, you should leave, because you should get something new, get exposed to new experience. In our industry, I don't think that's necessary, because it is changing so much itself. If you are in a biotech company that develops from a preclinical in a clinical stage, even commercial, you will see your environment changing so much. You will never get this type of change in another industry over this time period. So come in, be part of the community, and then enjoy the ride in one of the organizations. If for some sort of fashion either the company purpose doesn't work out, or the organizational change does not fit your need anymore, there is myriads of opportunities left and right. And you will have, through the work that you have done, you will have these connections, because the biotech companies, they all depend on collaboration. And no matter what you do, you will be involved with external collaborations of all sorts, and therefore you will actually have built a network of contacts with other peers, with business partners nationally and internationally. But as we alluded to before, very few people that come to Switzerland leave again. So it's our main purpose, really, to attract the people, to show them how attractive it is to work here, and then the rest is sorting itself out automatically.
Excellent. Well, look, I suppose that is a great place to finish off. Dr. Althofer, thank you very much for coming by today. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me.
Here's to the further growth of Swiss Biotech.
Thank you very much. And success to you and your team, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it grows, we grow, so it's good for us too. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for watching our video.
If you enjoyed it, check us out on LinkedIn under Headcount AG. Or for more content, check out our blog.